Hey there guys, Alex here. Welcome to another video by Programming Network. And in this video, I would like to discuss the video that I found just a couple of minutes ago on YouTube by Douglas Crockford. He's the creator of JavaScript language, and he basically talks about why we shouldn't be using JavaScript anymore. While I have a huge respect for this legend, and I even feel ashamed a bit, being the one disagreeing with him and making a video about it, I still think that his points are pretty shallow in this one, and I think that he's more talking as a code purist in this sense and not as a overall balanced engineer who actually even takes into the account the reality of the world that we live in. So let's actually watch this together, and then as he makes some points, it's only a two minutes long video. I'm gonna stop it, and then I'm gonna share my views with it. Okay, let's click and let's start the video.
20 years ago, I was advocating for JavaScript. My story was that JavaScript is a much better language than anybody knows, and that if we use it properly, we can do amazing things about it, and it can change the world. And in fact, that happened. But now my evangel is that we should stop using JavaScript, that it has so many congenital defects. It really is a smelly language. There's just a lot of crap in it.
All right, so this is the first point he makes. Is what he's saying incorrect? Absolutely not. Now, the problem here is that this is not a binary type of problem, or this is not saying there's some language out there in the world that sucks, and then there's a language out there that doesn't suck. Or in simple words, this is not a yes or no type of thing, black and white. So by saying a sentence like this, you almost indirectly imply that every other language, or that some other language, let's just say some other language, is perfect and it has no flaws and it has a lot of crap in it. Maybe there are few languages out there like Golang, like Go, that you can say, okay, this is maybe the closest to some sort of a pure and a solidly built language. But for the most part, if you go to C and C++ and C# and even some functional languages like Haskell and Clojure, etc., those languages also have their flaws, and those flaws have been replaced by some of the newer features, which is why we keep getting new language features every now and then. The irony of this is that most of the shitty, if I can say, features that JavaScript has were actually implemented by Douglas himself, because as you know, there's this meme, JavaScript was built in 11 days, right? So a lot of those things have been built. A lot of internet has been built upon those features, and then ECMAScript committee had to keep releasing new features to patch for those features. Now, you don't really need to use those crappy features as he calls them, because most of those APIs are replaced by something at least better. But regardless, even if that wasn't the case, this notion how JavaScript is flawed and I don't know, Java isn't, or C# isn't and stuff, is just ridiculous, because those languages has as many, if not more, flaws than the JavaScript itself. So this sort of notion how language has some issues, hence let's write a new one, is like saying, well, English language or your mother tongue language, when it was invented, it wasn't perfect, hence let's now just drop everything we have and not fix it, and let's kind of do the new language. Let's start speaking, let's embrace a new spoken language, because this one has flaws. You can say a swear word, right? So I find that ridiculous. And again, with most of his points in this video, he doesn't really provide even a hint of what that language that he's talking about is and where that language is. He's going to say now in a second how a lot of people are making languages, but he doesn't even mention a single one. Let's kind of keep on going.
And it's still maybe for its field of application the best language in the world for doing that kind of stuff, but that's not good enough. We should be moving on to the next generation of languages.
And again, he claims that it's currently the best language for what it's doing. That's true. That's also true because there's no other language right now that they can use in the browser, so that's also true. We are waiting for WebAssembly for a decade now, and it keeps coming, just like cryptocurrencies are going to just change the world the next year. We keep waiting for the WebAssembly as well. But he claims that it's the best, and that is inherently true because there's no other one that we can actually use yet properly. But he also claims we should be moving to new languages, and again, with no really direction or an example of what this language might be, how would it work, etc., etc. I'm going to actually talk about this in a minute more. Let's just.
It used to be that we'd get a new computer languages about every generation. I started with Fortran and then C and C++ and Java and JavaScript and so on, and then it kind of stopped. There are still people developing languages, but nobody cares.
I think this is also inherently super false. I think for 15 years being in this industry, I've never seen or met professionals like programmers who are so curious to learn new things. I don't know a single developer of any level, junior, senior, tech lead, CTO, who doesn't like sitting and learning new languages. I think this is I'm not sure why he's saying this. I'm almost certain that he doesn't trust actually what he's saying, that we don't care. Of course we care. The fundamental problem here is that he neglects the whole most crucial part of every language, which is the ecosystem. So for instance, we have JavaScript language, which has been built for 20 plus years. We have a huge ecosystem of libraries. We have a huge history of issues and Stack Overflow, Google, millions of developers writing articles of the bugs they found, on the solutions they provide, etc., etc. Now, the reason why we're not embracing new languages isn't because we hate to learn new things. In fact, again, we all, I'm sure you watching this video, you are learning at least 2 new things probably this month. You're reading blogs, you're watching this video because you're curious. The reason why we just can't switch to that brand new shiny language isn't because we're incapable of learning a syntax of that language. Any even junior developer, if they learn one language well enough, they can learn a new language within days. The problem is that no business is going to say, hey, put yourself in this position. You start a new company, you have limited funds, you don't have funding, you need to hire 1 or 2 developers. That's the max when you start. What are you going to choose? Are you going to choose a technology that's just there for which you can literally almost build a whole product without writing any code, just compose it off of some various libraries? Or are you going to say, no, let's just reinvent everything. Let's take this 3-month-old language that nobody knows about and let's build it. Look at Golang. Golang, for instance, is one of my favorite languages out there, but even Go, it's been out for many years now, and it's still surely but slowly getting traction. So it takes many years for a language, and it really has to be good. It has to solve some issue like Go solves with concurrency, with simplicity, with just, it's a beautifully designed language. But even for a language built by Google, who can push it, or at least it has been built by Google, not truly by Google, imagine even that language is taking many years. Imagine if I build a new language, a person that nobody knows about, how many decades would it take for that language to really integrate itself, make interest among the developers and also businesses. So in simple words, I think this statement that he's making is false. We care, developers do care. Developers are also not the ones who make technical decisions in that sense, like a decisions on the company level of which stack is used. That's why you have CTOs, you have people who have founded the company, and they are the ones deciding what's best for them. So in simple words, not true at all.
One person can make a programming language, a really good one, but you can't get adoption for it. There are lots of terrible mistakes in the way that the web works, in the way our operating systems work, and we can't get new ones.
This statement, I'm sorry for interrupting, is also really shallow. What he's basically saying here is almost as if I say, well, the world is fundamentally broken. Banking system is broken, we have wars, we have hunger, destruction, and then I stop there. I don't provide a concrete solutions to any of this. I think operating systems are bad, the web is bad, everything's bad. You can kind of get out of this video, which is a bit strange, that he, I think, inherently thinks that pretty much everything is bad. Like, we should rewrite the whole internet. We should just, but how? Probably, again, with all the respect I have for this guy and his generation of what they've done and what they've built for all of us, like me, so we can actually build things today. What is the solution, right? Should we rewrite operating? You have Linux, right? Is it great? Absolutely not, right? So you have the open source systems where companies are not interfering. You have the systems where developers can build whatever they want, however they want. Well, where is that operating system then? Where is that new internet? Like, who prevents us to build this perfection that he talks about, right?
We're just stuck with this crap, and they keep piling new features on everything, and the new features always create new problems. And
yeah, but that's programming.
It doesn't have to be like that. We could be using really clean operating systems with really clean languages and really clean runtimes and doing all this stuff in a much more reliable way, but we don't seem to want to do that.
Again, very depressing point of view. We do want to do that. Why wouldn't we want to do that? I mean, where is this coming from? I think he's almost like, maybe he just had enough. Maybe he's been just coding for 40 years and he's sick of where we ended up. I could definitely feel it. Maybe his perception of where we're going to be as a programming community, maybe in his mind is somewhere else. But we do want to do that. We do want to learn new things. We do want to try new programming languages. We do want to do all of that. But again, it's not in our control to make those decisions. An average developer goes to work, chooses a stack that company is hiring for, and then writes that stack to the best of their ability. Would such a developer decline to work in a perfect environment, as Douglas describes, in a clean environment, in a perfect environment, with a perfect operating systems, perfect browsers, no bugs? Of course, but it's super strange that this comes from a guy with more experience than you know, the age that some of us are in, right? So it's like, what is the solution? I mean, this is a very idealistic point of view, in my opinion. Too idealistic.
I've done JavaScript for a generation. It's time for the next thing. And I don't think that should be considered a radical point of view. I think it should be a normal evolutionary view.
All right, so why did I want to comment in this video? Because I've been streaming now for almost a year on Twitch. I've seen a lot of comments from especially younger developers who are getting into this community, who are affected by this negativity about the web and JavaScript, and I feel that they're at a huge disadvantage because many of them decide to go into web, but they're constantly being fed this negativity about the language that they will have to write. So this is now, of course, is browser going to eventually support, let's say, other languages through WebAssembly, which it kind of already does? Yes, most likely yes. Are those languages ever going to be used is a matter of question, because we don't know. We haven't seen how the stack is going to look like, which other bugs and complexities and issues this is going to introduce. And I have no doubts that it's going to even be worse, because now you have to translate one language into another. This is already now crazy enough. But either way, no matter your skill level, I can advise you that keep learning JavaScript. JavaScript is a beautiful language. It has issues like any other language, spoken or programming language. It's a language with which you can build mobile apps, desktop apps, Chromebook apps, all sorts of things with one single language. Is it perfect? Is it as efficient as some low-level language? Of course not. It has never been made for that sort of thing. Just as you're not going to make web pages with C, you're not going to be writing a CPU or GPU drivers with JavaScript, right? So try to take this more balanced approach to why JavaScript is truly great. It's a language that has enabled many billion-dollar companies today to exist, because they were able to build products with minimal amount of people, building it for multiple platforms, I don't know, using Electron or any of those things. Are those technologies great from a memory, CPU perspective? Absolutely not, again. But this is where we are, this is what we use, this is what our customers use. And paradoxically and ironically enough, the people who complain the most about those apps is the developers, it's not the users. When an average user goes to Amazon.com or somewhere, they're not asking what is the underlying client-side library, what is the backend. They care that the product works, that they can purchase things. That's why they came there, and that's what they care about. So as long as you can make your applications efficient enough so the user is happy, language is fine, when there's something new and better out there, we're gonna transition to it slowly, as we always did. But please don't embrace this point of negativity, because it's not gonna help you. You're gonna sound like a little brat, because you're gonna be just complaining about things that you, number one, most likely don't understand, and second, you don't have a solution to. So take my approach in programming in general and in life. Either be proactive, don't be reactive. If you have a complaint, propose a solution. And if you don't have a solution, just shut up. Either try to find one or be silent until you have one. Because constant complaints about something don't make things better, they make it worse. You just create this negativity around you, and then you affect more people to be negative, and that doesn't help anybody. So keep learning. If you want to see more of me, you can check my streams on Twitch almost every night, twitch.com/programmer_network. And if you like this video, if you agree, or especially if you disagree, please leave a comment, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great one, and I'll catch you up in the next one. Cheers. Bye. Peace.